Hey there, so this is Justine Andersen, and this is my new work, Mara, and I've been showing you guys page-by-page pencils, but I've also been doing a lot of inking, and I thought I'd share these here. I don't know that these are necessarily appropriate for an inking master's video, because it's a bit pretentious on my part, but that's up to you, Tom. But anyway,
I could certainly find enough that is masterful in here to talk about, but let's just go your way.
But this first page really is, I had the wrong brush, the wrong ink, and the wrong glasses, and I was really struggling to ink it. And then when I got to the next page, I had realized that I had now the right ink, the right brushes, the right glasses. The brush I had used was old, the glasses were not letting me focus, and the ink was too thin. And you can see down in this area, if you go in close, where my lines really started to come together and look really beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's a white highlight here to pop that off the background.
Oh, wow.
So those of you who are following me on Patreon, because I do have a site on Patreon, also my website, barefootjustine.com, but my Patreon account is patreon.barefootjustine.com or .justinemaraandersen.com, something like that. Anyway, you can find me there.
That's a beautiful panel down there on the bottom left.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe you can put this in the Inking Masters and just, let people quarrel with it. So
they like to quarrel on YouTube, so sure.
This page here.
This is amazing.
Yeah, thanks. It was highly influenced by Bernie Wright's Frankenstein, and yet not at all, in a way. I mean, the kind of gadgetry and everything, but it's all very organic. And the focal point, the vanishing point, rather, is her navel. So all the perspective, everything is pointing right down towards her navel, and the floor is spreading out from her navel. The thing that was really exciting for me about doing this page, was that I realized that, as is always the case, the inks were turning out much better than the pencils. And I was so afraid that wasn't going to happen this time. Somehow this once I wasn't going to be able to pull that off. But really the inks have really, really pulled this book together. So those of you who have been following the page-by-page process are probably really going to enjoy seeing this stuff.
Talk about the white on her hair there.
The white ram around her hair?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've decided that with this new Mara, the old Mara, I used to put every bit of hair in detail and draw in all the hair, but now I'm starting to like this glow on the outer edges of the hair, and you can see we're actually painted out in white to put that glow on there, and I've done that consistently through this book. Is caught myself rendering in my old way and then going back in and pulling out details.
I remember you used to draw every ringlet.
Yeah, but I'm trying to find a new way of talking about art and inking. This one was meant to be a lot looser right from the beginning. Like this, I knew I was going to ink with a toothpick, but in this case, the toothpick wasn't reacting well with the page, wasn't reacting well with the ink. Something was going on, and I had to use a combination of toothpick, dry brush, and white gouache. So you can see there's white gouache here, and there's dry brush, and there's toothpick, and truthfully I can't really tell what's what anymore. But you can look up here and see again where I painted out some of her hair to give her that white kind of glow, and down here on this panel where I really kind of went to town on the white. This page is meant to be a bit of a tribute to Jeff Jones, especially this here, and I wanted it to be kind of scribbled into existence, but I couldn't get the Jones scribbling, so I had to go with more of a horizontal scribbling, which works really well. I was trying to make it look kind of like I'm age, but Jeff was using pens at that point and scribbling that stuff out, and so it's sort of Jeff Jones being sort of transferred through me.
Yeah.
But it came out nice. But I wanted it to be super loose. If you look at the panels on the left, like going really close on one or two of them, they're just like sketches inked. Super raw. Like I love what happened with the hair here, the zigzag on the face here. Got up here, this sort of zigzag. Sorry, these pages are still a little bit dirty because I haven't erased them all yet. So you're seeing them in the really raw stage, but like all that right there.
Oh, that's great to see in that stage.
This was another page that really came out much, much better when inked than I had planned. You can see I left a lot of white on the hair up here. I got a couple people commented on her posture down here and how natural it seemed, and that was so hard to get just right, and I looked for reference for it and couldn't really get it. I had to make it up. And someone said that looks like you. I'm thinking, God, I hope I'm not that slouchy. But anyway, you know, she is me basically, as sort of like a younger, prettier version of myself. But I wanted these guys to be kind of loose too, you know, and then I wanted her to be tight.
It's funny, I'm seeing white around the hair everywhere. There it is again.
Yeah, it's happening.
There's a little halo there around that pig.
Yeah,
troll thing.
They need to pop, right? And part of how making them pop is to put the white halo around her and to put a gray pattern behind him. And that way there's some popping going on. I love this page. I kind of like the sparse, you know how it's sort of sparse, sort of Spartan. And so those of you who have been following this are probably really enjoying seeing the inks. I didn't even want to do this. I just thought I got all those lines. But once I got going on it, it was really, really, really quick. The stairs came out really nice. You know, I thought, I was looking at Jose Gonzalez when I did those stairs. So they're based
so nice.
a lot on him. And for such a tiny panel, really, it's only one, like it's a 3-tier setup. And that's like 1 of 3 panels across the top. And then down here, as we get lower on the page, I wanted to start out with Mara and her world being more clear, and then as she sort of falls apart again, I wanted the ink to get looser and more like toothpick and dry brush. So there's a world of difference there. You can see all the white I used. Here's something interesting. I had to like glue a patch on that face because the face was so poorly drawn. And I went back in and patched.
Can you talk about this last tier? I love this last tier where the way you ink it progresses from panel to panel, even though it's a sort of pan over the same image.
It's exactly the same as the top tier. I want it to be super tight here, medium, tight, loose here, and then like toothpick loose here. So it relates exactly to the panels above. You know, really this whole book is about questioning the nature of reality, which is something that happens after you've taken DMT and done a lot of meditation and studied a lot of Hinduism. And so her whole notion of reality is falling apart around her. And in order to communicate that, you know, that's part of the inking process. See, the inking is deep. It's not just about outlining things. You know, it's part of the narrative. And using the ink to also show how her reality is falling apart is an important part of the narrative. Does that answer the question?
Oh, yeah, totally.
You know, I know it's a little bit esoteric.
Well, this page is beautiful.
Thank you. To me, it's sort of an in-between page, but people seem to really like it.
Well, that top half is so clean and visceral and eye-catching, and there's just so much going on in it. And, you know, the drawings of her are really powerful, especially when she's clasping her mouth there. Those eyeballs are kind of stunning, not kind of. Anyway, I'll let you talk about it.
I like this down here is really kind of drawing I'm hoping for on Mara now. It's stuff that's a little more loose, a little more expressive, a little more Klimt-like at times, just a little more, you know, open at times. And then this is me sort of ripping off a little bit of the Rankin Bass Hobbit. I love that in their Gollum. But let's skip to the next page because this is where it really went crazy. I mean, that top left panel, I think it took me 3 days to ink it, you know, probably 3 6-hour days, something like that. It's extremely detailed. I've already talked about the meaning of it, but those of you who saw the pencils can now see that once inked, it is actually a lot better than the pencils. I mean, this guy's head really pops out because that's the only place where you finally get a heavy outline. You know, I've been trying to pull back on the heaviness of my outlines, which is something I used to rely on a lot. And here I'm relying on rendering and creating depth and trying to minimize my use of a heavy outline to make things pop. And then I'm also, you know, using the black here to make that recede into the background. I kind of like the visceral quality of this head down here as well. We've got a lot of pages to cover, so I'm going to keep moving. This is the page that knocks everybody out. I just took one sitting to ink all these panels, and I would say that 70% of these lines were done freehand without a ruler. And I don't like not using rulers for panel borders, but I was making a mess. The ruler was just dragging ink all over the page because it was just too much of it going on. and like here, that panther you're moving over, I wanted that looseness of the pencils to still be in the inks. That's something that always scares me when I want looseness intentionally and aiming for looseness. There's no way to fake looseness. Either you're feeling loose that day and it works, or it doesn't. Fortunately, I was feeling loose when I penciled it, and I felt loose when I inked it. I love the sort of vibratory nature of this panel here. Oh, we're almost done. That's actually the image I also used when I did Barbarella cover recently, because I was on a deadline with that and knew it had to be good, so I sort of swiped this Mara face. But here's, like, you can see the influence of, like, Yellow Submarine and things like that. And the Hypnotoad, you know, from Futurama. I'm just kidding. Sort of. It's not really what I'm after at all. But that's as far as I've gotten, but a little bit on this other page.
Oh, but all this, all these boots and shoes and things are fantastic.
Yeah, I was fighting with a brush that was dovetailing, and I really was angry with myself because I've been using that brush for 2 pages, and because, you know, frankly, I'm broke. I don't have a lot of money. That's why I need people to help me on Patreon. I need new brushes. I can't afford to buy them, so I had to break out my only new brush and ink until it lasts. And that's the last ink page so far. So, inked panel.
And more white on her hair. Look at that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
even on a tiny panel like that. You
And
go
that's
in
painted in, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I
you
mean.
know,
Yeah.
I just knew, damn it, I want that white in there.
Yeah.
So did you have any other comments before we pull out of this?
Fantastic. So happy to see this moving along.
Yeah, only 20 more pages to go after this.
20?
What's 32 pages?
All right. Thanks, Justine.
So there you go, gang. Join me at barefootjustine.com, or come find me on Patreon. Maybe I can have Tom post my Patreon website there, because I'm not sure exactly what it is, the title of it, but it's either patreon.com/barefootjustine or /Justine Mara Andersen. But yeah, come support this project. It's coming along great.